PA, who seems to think that the entire show is a waste of time because he wants to know if we really think someone is going to call with proof of God, because they're not. Is that right, Glenn?
That is correct.
How do you know they're not?
Because there is no such thing as God.
How do you know that? Wouldn't you have to be God to have sufficient knowledge to know that there isn't God and that there's no possibility that someone could present evidence?
Absolutely not. All you have to do is compare God, which would have to be the most complex being. Any conscious God is not nearly as likely as...
Why does God have to be the most complex being?
Any conscious being that you would call God would not be possible compared to simple life forms, single-cell creatures. You're looking at Genesis versus abiogenesis. And anyone who... let me just ask the question. Do you really honestly think somebody is going to call in with proof of God?
Yes, I think people are going to call in almost every week with what they think is proof of God, and then it's our job to find out.
I didn't say that. I didn't say
Renee,
what
he's asking, are they going to have the proof? I don't think that they will. I don't.
Yes, I don't either. However, to suggest that it's impossible is to no longer be a skeptic. It is to have reached a conclusion and to be closed-minded.
Right. You have to walk into this with, I don't know, but let's find out.
No, it's absolutely fucking true, which I will get to in just a second. But the purpose of the show is not to sit here and wait every week for the proof of God that none of us think is coming. It's to educate people on why the proofs they think are correct are not. However, yes, as a matter of fact, if you assert that such evidence is impossible, you have abandoned skepticism and made a claim that you cannot demonstrate.
There are plenty of things that you should not be skeptical about to a certain point. Skepticism is fine up until a certain point.
No, sir. There is nothing that you shouldn't be skeptical
about. Are you skeptical about flat?
You don't understand what skepticism is.
Are you skeptical that there's a flat Earth?
Yes. Because do you know what
you are skeptical of that?
Yes, Glenn.
Skepticism is about asking questions, and I have asked the question.
Yeah, instead of sitting here pretending that you know what skepticism is, why don't you listen to the fucking skeptics telling you? Skepticism is, I want to believe as many true things and as few false things as possible. It is, I want my internal model to match reality as best I can. And all of this is done with the recognition that absolute certainty is apparently unattainable. And so I should proportion my confidence level to things. So am I skeptical about the shape of the Earth? You bet. Does that mean that I'm not convinced that it's an oblate spheroid? No, I'm completely convinced it's an oblate spheroid because as a result of skepticism, I analyzed information and reached the conclusion that is best supported by the evidence. That's what skepticism is. However, if someone were to demonstrate new evidence that undermined it in the same way that they did when they showed that the Earth is not the center of the universe and that the sun doesn't go around the Earth. Once upon a time, we thought the sun went around the Earth, and all of the evidence pointed to that. And then we learned where that evidence went wrong. You are the person sitting back in antiquity saying, nobody's ever going to prove that the Earth orbits the sun. That's just impossible. You're closed-minded, non-skeptical, and you're wrong.
That's fine, but you really think that somebody's going to call. You actually think there's a possibility. Somebody's going to call, get their Nobel Prize, get their $1 million. That's really going to happen.
No, I don't know whether or not it's likely, which we've already explained to you 2 or 3 times, which means you didn't listen to a fucking thing I said.
I absolutely heard every word that you said. I just totally disagree with you. And skepticism is fine to a point, but there comes to a point where it's not necessary anymore. It's actually unproductive.
To
be skeptical about facts. It's not productive to be skeptical that the Earth is not flat.
Glenn, you monumental person, please explain to me, at what point should I stop being skeptical?
At the point where you realize what reality is, that there's no need to be skeptical about actual facts.
How do you know what reality is?
Based on life, everything you experience and you can understand based on logic, science, common sense.
Yeah, based on life.
Everything. Absolutely.
No,
people understand that.
What you're essentially doing is saying that your experience of the universe is necessarily truth and inviolate. And that's demonstrably false. This is the reason why skepticism is still...
And you're saying that nothing can be true. That's wrong.
That is not
nobody ever said that.
That's not remotely what the fuck I said at all, which shows you didn't listen to me. But you keep thinking that you know more about skepticism because I fully acknowledged what can be true.
Okay.
And I have to call out the straw man there because nobody ever said that we don't think anything can be true. Nobody said that. So attacking that is misrepresenting an idea and attacking that instead of what we're saying.
That is monumental bullshit.
Okay, that's your opinion. In my opinion, nobody's ever going to call in with proof.
That's a fact. It is bullshit. How is this? How is it? Oh, that's just like your opinion, dude. Cool. It's just your opinion. No, literally nobody here said we can't get to truth. So when you accuse us of saying we can't get to truth, you are demonstrably wrong. That is in fact bullshit. It's no longer a matter of opinion. It's like he's following.
I mean, it's an easy straw man for skepticism. It's all it is. That's not what we're saying. So all I'm going to say is I have no obligation to defend words that someone else put in my mouth. If I didn't say it, I'm not defending it. If I don't hold to it, I'm not defending it. That's where I'm at.
I mean, I realize that I'm certainly more on edge today than other days, and I will completely blame it on the fact that I'm in the end stages of nicotine withdrawal. But it's so frustrating to explain something and then have somebody come back and say, oh, well, what you're saying is that there can't be truth. When I literally said skepticism is about wanting to believe as many true things and as few false things as possible, which means there must be truth. Now, whether or not you can actually get to truth is a legitimate problem within philosophy. And that's why I operate based on a compatibilist model of truth, that something is true to the extent that it conforms to reality, but not just my personal experience of reality. This is why we rely on independent verification. It's just bizarre for somebody to come in and go, I mean, what was the purpose of the call? The purpose of the call was to say, do you guys really think somebody's going to call in proof of God? That won't happen. And you should, there's a time where you should just stop being skeptical. No. I mean, if the point is to educate people about mistakes they're making in thought, then maybe instead of prioritizing theist callers, I should prioritize people who think that the show is pointless and that no truth can come.
Right. Well, he was misunderstanding the purpose of the show as being like, are we sitting here thinking that somebody is going to provide proof, which isn't what we're doing. We're actually like, no, I don't think somebody is going to provide evidence, but I do think that they're going to provide what they think is evidence. And like you were saying, the purpose of this show is to point out that what you think is proof of a God is not proof of a God. What you think is an argument that proves that there is a God is not a sound deductive argument. Unless there is one, in which case, let's find out. I'm open to it. I want to hear it if it exists. But I haven't been doing this as long as you have, but in the time that I've been doing this, I've heard so many arguments that are actually really it's really just a few. There are really only like 5 arguments for God, and they're all made differently.
Let's see if we get a little